One of the volunteers this morning, you had to get up bright and early, 7 a.m. start for this race. Chris Thomas, the president of the Runners Club, joins us, and a little chilly this morning, Chris.
Yes, the runners are going to have an issue on their hands. You can see the one right here shaking and trying to stay warm, but it's going to start out very chilly, and then within an hour or so, it's going to warm up rapidly. So they're going to have to decide how they're going to dress, how to hydrate, so forth through there.
And here's the start. It's always just a beautiful scene here at the beginning, isn't it?
Yes, so this is a calmer start than when you'd have at a smaller race, a 5K race, because these guys are, you have the 8K, the half marathon, and the marathon. So you've got to go out conservatively and pace yourself here at the beginning.
Always a beautiful scene. David Nichols, the vice president of the Runners Club, with us. And when you see this start and you see all these people, there's a lot of dedication, a lot of practice that goes into this race.
Yeah, that's right, Chris. These people have culminated now to get all this training. Them up to 16 weeks for the marathon and maybe 8 weeks for the half marathon. And it's all kind of coming together today. They're all really excited and probably expecting to have a really good race today.
Also, it takes a lot of effort to get this done. Jenny Taylor with race operations. I know you guys had a lot of volunteers, just a lot of people handing out water, different things. It takes a lot to get this race put together, doesn't it?
It does, and we did have some training runs for the runners to do, working up to the marathon. For each race, we had them, and it does take a lot of work. We did have a lot of great volunteers. I want to give a real big thank you shout out to all of them. They were a great help. We've been working pretty steadily about the last month, almost nonstop, to get everything finalized and every last detail into place.
And you see all the runners there, just a beautiful picture. Every year we do this, and all the runners, all the dedication, all the hard work paying off. And Chris, we talked about this a little bit, but you see a lot of the runners are dressed a little warmer because it was chilly, but eventually they'd have to remove some of those clothes if they had to, right?
Some of these people are in trouble. They have overdressed, and you're going to have to start out chilly. The least expensive way to stay warm is actually to rub Vaseline, like on your forearms and on your legs, your knees, and that'll keep you warm. And then as you sweat, get hot, it dissipates and it leaves you. But a lot of these shirts are going to be thrown out on Old Boonville, New Harmony Road, and chucked everywhere and chucked in yards and stuff. But you have to underdress at the start because it's going to get warm quick within an hour or so.
And David, as we talked about with a lot of the runners, it was a very windy day. As a runner, how do you compete with that? It's obviously a little bit tougher when the wind is blowing straight in your face.
Yeah, that's always quite a bit of a challenge. You'll notice that if it's the beginning of the race, you kind of want to stay in a pack and maybe kind of follow behind some people to kind of get the wind out of your face. But that's always a challenge in any kind of race.
Some of the 8K runners, and we saw some of the half marathon and full marathon. These guys kind of run together, but really, where do you start to see the separation with these guys?
Oh, I would say within a mile and a half to 2 miles, the cream of the crop is going to run to the front, and they'll be making a separation from the rest of the pack.
Jenny, let's talk about this course a little bit, because I know they take a lot of pride putting this together, and it's something that the runners give a lot of compliments on.
I did. Actually, I was at the finish line for most of the day today, and everybody said what a beautiful course it was to run. Some of them actually appreciated the hilliness of it. And I have to give a big thank you to the town of Darmstadt for allowing us to do this yet again this year.
Here we see some of the runners, and Chris, I know that being a former runner yourself, or still a current runner, just talk about that and where these guys kind of are at coming up these hills like this.
The nice thing about this course is it has dips, and it has, I guess the best term, hollers, is where it's really cool. They'll get up on a hill and it'll be warmer, and then they drop down and it'll be cool, and it's really nice. And you know, some of the runners have got high socks up to their knees. Those are compression socks, and that really helps with cramps and keeping your calves from getting tight during the race. I think Dave Nichols can talk about more of this about those, because he's an ultrathoner. 2 weeks ago he just did a 50-miler.
Okay, let's talk about that a little, Dave.
Sure. Yeah, it was quite a bit different. It was on a trail, but it's just a different type of event. You go a lot slower, and you just have to really pace yourself and be a little more conditioned.
One of the things I always find the most impressive is just the varying ages, the varying lifestyles, occupations from everybody, and I guess we could talk about that a little too, and guys, you could address that, but it's just amazing how things vary for these guys and how they got here.
Yeah, there's Runner World had an article this month in the ranks called the Old Goats Club, and it's guys over 80 years old. So at a lot of these races, you'll have posses of people that train together, and the age really doesn't come into effect a lot of times. There's groups of people that meet up, and it's not their age, it's their pace that they run at. So you'll have people that run at 8-minute paces, but you'll have maybe 30-year-olds in there, 60-year-olds, but they run at a pace, and they've done races before, so they meet up with each other, and they kind of know how to run a race, especially for a half marathon. They go, well, if I pace off here like Angela Reckenhoff, she's one of the lead women, if you run with her at the 5-mile mark, you may be in trouble because you're going out too fast.
CBS 44's coverage of the Southern Indiana Classic is supported by Bob's Gym. Stay tuned. We'll bring you the finish of the 8K coming up next.